I know that we've heard a lot of hearkening back to some historical trauma memories that people have about the way that returning soldiers from Vietnam were treated in the 70s. And it seems that what happened last Friday really triggered some of those memories, and that's unfortunate. But what I'd like to just briefly talk about is a big piece that I think is missing from this debate, and that is the history of the relationship between the National Guard and the labor movement in the United States. So our modern National Guard was created largely in response to the 1877 railroad strike. That was one of the largest and bloodiest labor disputes in the history of the United States. There's a long history between the Guard and organized labor. More recently, in the 1930s, a key turning point in the Flint sit-down strike, a historic strike, came when Michigan Governor Frank Murphy told General Motors that he would not send in the National Guard to remove the strikers from occupied plants. Because of his refusal to do that days later, GM recognized the United Auto Workers. So when we're talking just purely about the labor movement, not even bringing into context what we're dealing with right now in terms of the reckoning around racial justice in the Twin Cities, if we just historically look at the relationship between organized labor and the National Guard, there is a history there. And I think it's important for us to be informed by that history. But that brings me to this other point, and that is the reckoning that we have been undergoing for a while now, but which has heated up tremendously this past summer with the uprisings, and now again with what we've seen this past week. I wanted to just quickly note, we've also heard Article 1 of the Minnesota Constitution quoted a couple of times in regard to the purpose of government being to provide security. And that is correct, but I wanted to give the full description so people aren't misled. Government is instituted for the security, benefit, and protection of the people, in whom all political power is inherent, together with the right to alter, modify, or reform government whenever required by the public good. Beautiful. Hearing today two of our members insult a sitting United States representative, the Honorable Maxine Waters, is discouraging, to say the least. But I think that what it also goes to is what this very flawed Senate resolution goes to, and that is a complete failure to even begin to understand the depth of the trauma, the depth of the fear, and really what our communities of color in Minnesota grapple with. For sitting members of the Minnesota State Senate to insult Representative Maxine Waters like that, an icon in the United States who came, as was noted, from California to our Twin Cities to offer comfort to our communities that are grieving, that are asking for leadership, that are asking for help, that are asking for people to listen to them and understand their grievances. I have to say, Mr. President, it is very, very disturbing, and I wish that we had not heard disparaging, insulting words like that issued against a sitting United States representative in this hall. But I just think it goes to this failure to even begin to try to understand, why would people feel afraid of our National Guard? As has been well stated, many of them are union members. They take time out of their lives. They have other careers. They give of themselves to do this service for our community. It seems like there's a really good understanding in this body of that service and the goodness that comes with what these men and women have done and are doing in the Guard. But for many people in Minnesota and throughout our history in the United States, the military is not a comforting force. It is a frightening, scary presence. It threatens their survival. It threatens their well-being. It threatens their First Amendment rights. It threatens their ability to express themselves and participate in democracy, to improve their communities. So to cast aside and not recognize those legitimate concerns grounded and forged in our history, both here and nationally, and to just forge ahead with a resolution like this that really is an attempt to sever labor, to divide a community that is already in crisis and grappling with so much conflict. It's the height of cynicism. So I urge my colleagues to think deeply about the history and to consider what message a resolution condemning behavior like this would send.